Hello everyone, today is another session on how to clean your data with ChatGPT. This time the request is that, let's say if you have a value that's blank in a row, you want to filter out all the rows like this and extract that information and paste it into a new spreadsheet. How do we do that? Let's find out. Here is the business scenario for this case. So it's slightly complicated than last time. So here we have employee spreadsheet that we want to clean up and get ready for compensation planning at the year end. And here in column H, where we have the salary data, which is critical for this exercise, we actually found a few employees with 0 records. That's weird. If that's the case, we don't know if the person is already terminated, if the person is on leave, or maybe if that person is a new hire, but the salary information was just not yet inputted into our system. So we have to find out. What we usually do is to filter those people out and put them onto a separate page and then send it to probably the HRIS team, send it to recruiters or HRBPs and asking them, where is this person? Is there updated salary information that I can use for my analysis? So that is the request we have for ChatGPT this time. Now let's open up ChatGPT, see what it can do for us. So here is the instruction I have: create VBA code that if cell value in column H, salary, is blank, then move the entire row to the next sheet. Let's see if ChatGPT can work as. Okay, now copy the code, come back to our Excel, go to developer tab, view code, pasting our code, and see how it works. So first you set the source target work file. We do need to customize our sheet name. Records. You can also actually put this employee record sheet name into your ChatGPT instruction directly, so you don't have to copy and paste here. And finding the last row, so of the column H, that's fine, we have it. And then it's basically doing a loop exercise in the code. So it's saying that if the cell in column H is blank, then what VBA does is that copy the entire row and delete the row also from the source sheet. Actually, for my purpose and just for this exercise, I do not want to delete this row. So I'm gonna mark it as a comment. So it turns green, which means that it's not gonna run. And after run this code, all those blank rows are still kept here. And so the key is this row of code. I'm not quite confident it's gonna work, but let's try. It doesn't hurt, so let's try on it. Okay, so I don't think it's working as what we want. And that happens. And when that happens, let's change our methods and let's try it again. So because this code doesn't seem to work, I'm gonna work in another way. So this time, before I run any code, I'm gonna create a new sheet called employee with no salary. It's gonna be a blank sheet. And I'm now gonna change my instruction for ChatGPT to be something even more specific. So I'm gonna say create VBA code that if the cell value in column H is blank in sheet employee records, then move the entire row to the sheet employee with no salary. Let's see if it works this time. Okay. So now copy the new code, go back to our module window. You can delete the last code and then paste the new one. Okay, let's check the new one. So the source, so now it's already named the sheets. That's good. It finds the last row, which is fine, in column H. And then it says check if cell in column H is blank. Yeah, that's what we want. Column H. And move the entire row to the target sheet and then delete the row from the source sheet. So for this purpose, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to change this line of code to a comment. Save and run. Okay, now it's done. Let's see what's in here. Okay, so it does seems to be running one code in here. The first one, yeah. So you can see it's taking the first blank spreadsheet, and however, there's more in here, right? But then you see Excel, like the VBA code from ChatGPT didn't work. And the reason for that is that when the VBA code counts the row, it goes to this row and then it's, because it's blank, then it considers this to be the last row of the data, but it's not. The last row of data is much lower than this. So how do we change this to make it work. Now let's try with ChatGPT for the third trial. So this is the instruction that I give ChatGPT at the third time. It gives more details. So I say create the VBA code that first count the rows in column A, because this is the true count of all the non-blank rows. And then in this sheet, and then the cell value in column H is blank in this. Then move the entire row to the sheet of employee with no salary. So now let's run this instruction and see what kind of code it's going to generate. Okay, so now let's copy the code and paste into our module as the type of code. Make sure that the name is different. If it's the same, then you have to rename one of them. And let's just run it first to see how it works with our data. Okay, so it seems that it's copying our data right, but you know what? For my purpose, I actually still want to keep the original data in here. So I don't want them to be cut and paste in here. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna look into my code, and I found that the problem here is actually this line, because this line is saying that for the source row you cut it and then you move it to the next one. I don't want that to happen, so I'm gonna change this to copy, and then let me get the data back. Okay, now we come to the original data, and now I changed this row from cut to copy. Let me rerun this, save the code and rerun it. Okay, let's see. Okay, perfect. So now we have extracted all the employees with no salary. It will be handy if you add the title as well. So this is the extraction of all the employees with no data, and then you can simply copy and paste this table, send it to whoever has data or explanation, and ask them to give you the most updated data after that. Okay, so that's everything I want to share with you today. So as you can see, this time the request gets a little more complicated. So it does take me a few trials in order to get the best code that I want. So that's common when your instruction gets more complicated with ChatGPT. And when that happens, you can just do exactly what I was doing. Try to rephrase your instruction, always test and validate. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.